And guess what? According to the EPA, we did it, becoming the #1 lineup in overall gas mileage. Better than Honda, better than Toyota, and better for the whole planet.
Technology makes you get closer to people quicker.
Me and my friends kind of jokingly say that it's an electronic dog leash.
Technology gets blamed for a lot of bad things in society because change is always a little bit scary.
I know that the email is easy, but I still like a handwritten letter.
It's right there. It's at your fingertips. It's making people smarter.
We're all addicted to it. Oy vey.
We are boomers 100 million strong. Boomster.com is our site. Learn about volunteerism, wine, incredible travel, and so much more. Meet a golf psychologist from Fearless Golf for Boomers, a specialty chef, a memoir author, and other like-minded individuals. Share your ideas and dreams with other Boomsters. Join Boomster.com, a place for boomers to learn, to meet, and to share.
We've secretly replaced these diners' AT&T smartphones with Verizon smartphones. Let's see what happens.
Where are all my apps?
I don't know. This download's taking forever. Is that right?
What is this? Where's my cool phone?
So, don't dumb down your smartphone. Choose the nation's fastest 3G network. Oh, boy. It was just an experiment.
When you compare, there's no comparison. AT&T, a better 3G experience. Buy any smartphone after mail-in rebate and get any messaging phone free after mail-in rebate.
People have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook.
We must adjust to changing times.
I'll bring new hope to America.
Boomers have been blessed in many ways, not least of all by good timing. They arrived on the scene just as the booming economy was redirecting its wealth from the World War II battlefield to the home front.
We were all little rich kids, relatively speaking.
Political writer and satirist P.J. O'Rourke says the result was profound.
We were the first middle-class majority generation of any large society anywhere on Earth, anywhere in history.
O'Rourke wonders if that prosperity led to a generation too fat and happy to leave behind a legacy of real achievement.
The things that we perceived as wrong in society and were right about, such as racism, such as, looking back on it, the war, or at least the conduct of the war in Vietnam, our way of dealing with that was to dress up like circus clowns, grow our hair long. That's how we were going to change the world.
The whole dynamic.
Virginia Senator Jim Webb fought in Vietnam as a Marine and was highly decorated for his courage and accomplishments.
I weighed 170 pounds when I got to Vietnam. I weighed 138 when I was wounded.
He thinks the boomer battles over issues still raging today may be a force for good.
What do you think will be the legacy of your generation?
I've often said we're not a generation. You know, we're a group of people who were born in roughly the same time. Maybe we're like the country writ large right now. We're in this constant state of abrasion over issues, and maybe we could say that the creativity that came out of that abrasion was something that moved the country forward.
Some struggles have resulted in real change that burnish the boomer legacy, like the transformed role of women, epitomized by this striking image: two women together at the helm of a major U.S. corporation.
Did either of you in your teenage years, in your wildest dreams, imagine that one day you would be sitting side by side with another woman, you'd be the chairman, you'd be the CEO of an S&P 100 company called Xerox?
Never. I didn't even know what a CEO was. I didn't know what Xerox was. I didn't know about corporations.
In July 2009, 8 years after Anne Mulcahy was named CEO of Xerox, she passed the baton to Ursula Burns and stayed on as chairman. It was an unprecedented moment for American women in business.
One of the things that I'm reminded of all the time is that we stand on the shoulders of the people who came before us. It's work-a-day for us now, right? It's work-a-day. We see, you know, women running around and there are blacks running around. Oh, really?
Right. I'm often grateful to that handful of women who, you know, one generation ahead of us, who really have the scars to show stepping out there.
Mulcahy who is living part of the boomer legacy, thinks it's too soon to determine how her generation will be judged.
We've appeared to be a little bit self-centered and financially focused and career-oriented. I'm actually thinking that this next couple of decades where baby boomers have the chance to give back a bit.
You know,
Through the better part of the year, we spoke to dozens of boomers,
I graduated Michigan in 1967.
including someone who, in the eyes of many, personifies his generation with its accomplishments and its excesses.
There I am in 1974, look at that.
The first boomer president, Bill Clinton. The boomer in chief. You comfortable with that?
I am, because I don't think it has as much negative as a lot of people do. But I think there's something to it. I liked rock and roll. I was opposed to the war.
Anti-war activist and Rhodes Scholar, president at 46.
So help me God.
Bill Clinton is now in his mid-60s. He's as busy as ever, despite a history of heart trouble.
You know, I love it here. I'm always happy here.
We spoke to him at his presidential library in Little Rock, where he was reflective and personal. When you were a young man in the 60s, you were long-haired, liberal, social activist, opposed to the war. How conscious were you that within your generation there was this whole other body of conservative?
Oh, very. See, I had 4 roommates in my senior year at Georgetown. One of them was in the Marine Corps and raised 2 sons who joined the Marine Corps. Another was an Army brat, served in the Army, and our house was a place of lively debate. So I was very much aware that there was a whole different part of our generation. And I also felt, frankly, somewhat alienated from people who went further than I did into the whole drug culture and, you know, hating our country and all that stuff, that all the more negative excesses. But
you didn't inhale.
I never denied trying. I thought it was hilarious. I tried to explain to people I didn't, and it was funny, and I was trying to be funny. The established storyline and people in your business was that I was slick and deceptive, so it continues to be used to the present day in a false and misleading way.
What's the biggest misrepresentation of the boomers?
That we were primarily selfish, self-absorbed, narcissistic, indulgent, a big letdown after the greatest generation that won World War II. I tell everybody, it can't be true that if the World War II generation were the greatest generation, they were the worst parents in human history. We were all the children of World War II people.
Do you think that your generation said to the rest of us, you can expect the world from us, and that we came to expect too much from you?
No. I don't. I think we had high expectations of ourselves. I think we fulfilled America's sense of possibility. I think that we promoted the civil rights movement and believed it was possible to do well and do good. Most of the people that grew up in the 1960s, whether they were Republicans or Democrats, liberals or conservatives, believed in our country, loved it, and wanted it to do better.
Of all the debates at the time, the one that most deeply divided the country was over the war in Vietnam.
It was an incredibly traumatic time. It just tore us apart. One excess that the baby boomers had on both sides of the Vietnam divide was a little tendency to sanctimony. And if you get too sanctimonious, it makes you really dumb because you can't hear anything anymore. And maybe one of the things that we can do is to give American people the space to listen to each other across these divides again.
What else can the baby boomers be working on at this stage in their lives that will be for the common good of this country?
If we really want to end it right, we have to realize that our last obligation is not to put an unconscionable burden on our children and grandchildren, and to go out with the ideals, the fire that we started life with, to go out serving. And if we give billions and billions and billions of dollars worth of service a year, as long as we can move, we will have done our job in the full circle of life.
A long time ago, a young reporter